Okay, I wanted to watch this video for a couple of days now because apparently this man was so infatuated with Guild Wars 2, it made him quit every other MMO.
For the better part of 2 years, I've built this small channel around cataloging and sharing my experiences across the MMORPG genre. From popular games like Final Fantasy XIV and World of Warcraft to less popular games like Lost Ark and Throne and Liberty, these videos represent—
What? Wait, did he just say less popular MMOs? I mean, okay, maybe he refers to the Western market, and that's true over there because these games failed miserably over here. But Eastern market? Brother, these games are booming. There's a reason for why they still exist. So I guess maybe he refers to the Western market. It's fine.
And thousands of hours of gameplay, research, writing, and editing, yet in spite of all that time and effort, I haven't touched Guild Wars 2. Many of you have asked me to. I promised that I would about a year ago. Well, better late than never, right? Today's video isn't just about my experience with Guild Wars 2. It's also about how this MMO, which has been a quiet success in the shadow of its more popular contemporaries,
not this again.
my MMO addiction. Now, what does that mean? Stick around and you'll find out. Before we can begin in earnest,
I get what he's saying. Guild Wars 2 is a completely different MMO.
2 days early and ad-free for only $1 a month. It's the best deal in town. Now, let's start at the beginning. The truth is that I'm not entirely new to Guild Wars 2. I participated in some of the game's beta events back in 2012, and I played it at launch, but I ended up dropping the game as quickly as I picked it up.
That's crazy. He's not the first person I hear saying that. We've watched plenty of videos on this very channel of people who said the exact same thing. People tried out Guild Wars 2 when it launched, and then they just dipped. This is so interesting because I really wonder why. I mean, I guess maybe people just wanted to hop in the brand new shiny MMO. They realized it was horizontal and they left because they weren't prepared for that. And to be honest, I get that. Like, I completely understand. But maybe that's just my assessment. I cannot be 100% sure. It's just so funny that we heard so many people saying this exact same thing. Like, so many times.
There wasn't anything necessarily wrong with Guild Wars 2, but I distinctly remember being sick of MMOs by that time in my life. I was playing a lot of Skyrim and Dark Souls and way more League of Legends than I'd like to admit, so the timing just wasn't right. The impression it left on me was positive enough that I kept my eye on the game as it released new expansions, added new features, and grew into the game that exists today. But I could never commit to it the way that I wanted to. I tried to jump back in during Path of Fire, for example, and I couldn't get into it. Same thing with End of Dragons, no luck. The more time passed...
Okay, did you catch that? He purposefully neglected the reason for why he quit those expansions. This is very interesting, because he tried to get back into Guild Wars 2 on 2 separate occasions after playing it initially, and he didn't mention why. I think I know why. He didn't like the horizontal progression, but he's afraid to admit that. But brother, it's okay. I used to be like that. I tried out Guild Wars 2 for the very first time 4 years ago. I tried it for 2 months. I did a Zaiten fight, and I dipped. Okay, I just literally yeeted myself out of there because I wasn't a fan of the horizontal progression. I'm really a vertical Andy, which again, it's just like a me thing. I would always prefer vertical MMOs over horizontal, but nowadays I can appreciate both for what they are. Because I love playing World of Warcraft and then jumping to Guild Wars 2, and the game is at the exact state that I left it in. It's perfect. I love that. As you grow older and your time is more scarce, Guild Wars 2 looks way more appealing than other MMOs. Because now that you don't have time, you really want the game to respect your investment in it. And Guild Wars 2 does just that. Unlike World of Warcraft, where everything you've done is deleted the next patch. It's just irrelevant. So, beautiful. Truly, Guild Wars 2 is an MMO for, like, dad gamers these days. It's beautiful, man.
The more difficult it seemed to integrate myself.
Yeah, and it's okay to appreciate it only when you reach a certain age. Because when I was younger and I had plenty of time to play, yeah, I played multiple other games and I didn't want to play Guild Wars 2, right? Not that I was like extremely younger, it was 4 years ago, but yeah, I had way more time back then. Nowadays, I almost don't have any.
Into Guild Wars 2's ecosystem, so I accepted that perhaps it just wasn't meant to be. We had passed each other by like 2 ships in the night. So what changed? Well, my friend texted me and he was like, dude, let's play Guild Wars 2. And I said, oh, okay, but there's a little bit more to the story. You see, I've been feeling dejected about MMOs lately. For the first time since I started playing Final Fantasy XIV
Understandably
in 2019, I'm not currently subscribed to the game. I'm even taking a break from World of Warcraft, which is in great shape, but I'm just not
Great shape.
That's a pretty tough place to be for a guy who spends his free time making videos about MMORPGs. Honestly, I wasn't entirely confident that Guild Wars 2 would be the salve for the rut that I was in, but I decided to give it the college try that I didn't give it over 12 years ago. While I've only scratched the surface of the game, Guild Wars 2 has done more than provide me with a passing distraction. It cured me of my desire to engage in the typical MMO dopamine cycle that has dominated my gaming habits for years. There's this term which I'm pretty sure that I came up with that I talk about a lot in my videos: function fulfillment. Basically, it's the type of game design that requires minimal input from the player while offering paltry rewards in order to inspire engagement rather than to inspire enjoyment. For example, sending out your retainers in Final Fantasy XIV or doing your daily Unus tasks in Lost Ark. You really aren't playing a game, you're fulfilling a function. This, as you all well know, is a staple of live service game design, with MMOs being among the greatest offenders.
Exactly. It's a quick dopamine rush that is purposefully made to hook ADHD gamers into their games. They're just addicted. It's, how do you call it? Oh man, Chris Wilson said it, a dark pattern. It's a dark pattern, exactly. It's such obvious thing that every single company do nowadays, and it's so cringe. Like, it's diabolical, man. I really wish there would be some laws against it, but no. We have to suffer because Bobby Kotick wants another yacht. Beautiful. Absolutely. I need to carry over turtles to the goddamn waters because Bobby actually needs more money.
Displaces the satisfaction that you would normally do
Shame on him.
Playing a game and invest.
To be fair, he's out of the company now. Now it's Microsoft, and now Bill wants more money. I guess it's different.
Invested instead into a predictable reward loop that keeps you logging in day after day. It's a method of psychological manipulation to keep you trapped in an ecosystem for as long as possible. Guild Wars 2 is inexplicably built with very few of these retention mechanisms. What I found upon reinstalling this game after years of being away was a lovingly crafted, living world that invites you to play. The immediate playability of Guild Wars 2 was like a breath of fresh air, which is a foreign concept to me because I live in Los Angeles. You aren't surfing menus to queue into a digital waiting room before the game decides that you get to have fun. You're simply let loose upon a space with dynamic points of focus and total agency in approaching these objectives. Even when I was leveling through the base game, I was shocked at how populated the lower level areas were, with events serving as points of congregation for player interaction. Opportunities to explore the game's combat are plentiful, and the fast-paced leveling experience gives players the chance to experiment with different specializations and abilities. Traveling between objectives is fantastic in Guild Wars 2, owed mostly to its mount system. I currently own the Raptor and the Springer since I've only completed Heart of Thorns campaign, but these mounts are more than enough to make
his Raptor is fast. Dude, mine is like a slug. Oh my god, man, I really need to start playing more. I need to do the pet achievements and like the mount stuff. I really need that
gameplay experience.
Call them pets for some reason. Never mind that.
2017 glider that every game has to have after Breath of the Wild, which means that you and I are both morally obligated to jump off of every cliff that we see. In my recent video criticizing Creative Studio 3's game design, I mentioned the absence of environmental interactivity in both Final Fantasy XIV and 16.
Bro, FF14 is literally incapable of creating anything similar to Guild Wars 2 or any other game. Do you even have any idea how they built their engine? They had, I think, like 6 months to come up with a new engine or the game was entirely scrapped. Yoshi P literally built everything together from sticks and stones. It was crazy. He saved the game. If you don't know anything about FF14 and how it was about to shut down until they brought Yoshi P in to save it, it's an amazing story. I'm not going to cover it here, obviously, because it's kind of irrelevant, but watch a video about that. It's truly fantastic. It's one of the reasons for why I started playing FF14 myself. It was the best 6 months of my life. I enjoyed that thoroughly.
Huge proponent of the proverbial.
But yeah, basically the point that I was trying to make is that the game is literally incapable of doing so. Like, they don't have the technology.
Treasure behind a waterfall in game design, which Guild Wars 2 embraces completely. This game is, in some ways, the diametric opposite of Final Fantasy XIV in that environmental interactivity is the engine which propels the player's adventure. From ascending in wind tunnels to bouncing off of mushroom caps to carefully working through a jumping puzzle, Guild Wars 2's world design demands interaction and exploration. Around the edges of the moment-to-moment gameplay is a user interface that still holds up after all these years.
What? No, brother, you're coping hard. No. Listen, I understand that you made this video not wanting to disappoint the Guild Wars 2 community. You have to be honest. You gotta have integrity, brother, okay? Telling anyone that this crap is the UI that still holds to this day, I don't know what you're on about, but this is the worst lie I've ever heard in my entire life. Guild Wars 2 UI is literally the worst I've seen in almost every video game I've ever played. In almost every MMO, okay, to be more specific. It's cringe, okay? To even claim that this is good, I don't know what you're on about. I love the game. I'm gonna continue playing it until I finish everything, okay? I'm not a hater by any sort of, like, means. This has to change. Now, I know it's hard-coded into the game and they're incapable of changing it, but still, they need to do something about this, brother. I can't even look at that. It's revolting.
Every menu interaction comes with a slight visual flourish. Nothing simply appears like it does in, say, World of Warcraft. Things unravel as icons drop.
Come on, you know WoW UI is 10 times better. What are we on about? Like, what are we talking, man? This is, I get it. I mean, that's the point with some content creators, man. And no shade to this guy, he's fantastic. But I really feel like some people are really trying to tiptoe around certain communities. You don't have to do this with a Guild Wars 2 community. Brother, they are actually intelligent, okay? This is not the WoW community where if you dare say something that's not in line with one thing that they're thinking, oh, you're gonna get burned, okay? You're gonna get roasted, brother. Guild Wars 2 community isn't like that. They're capable of taking criticism. I know because I did that myself. Every time I brought a point which I thought was, hey, that's like my thing, but it may be a point of contention, people were always kind towards me. Like, they were never trying to shame me or bully me into submission because I had a certain opinion they disagreed with. And I think the best example I can give you is the well, I'm gonna say it again, guys. Are you ready? You already know what's coming, okay? It's the lack of class identity, okay? I didn't want to say it, but it's kind of relevant, so I am going to say it. The obligatory response. But at the end of the day, I think Guild Wars 2 severely lacks class identity. This is something that I talk about in almost every video I've made about this game. And people just constantly argue with me about that. Okay, now I'm not gonna delve into that because we're reacting to a video. This is not a standalone video that I made. But it just goes to show that even when I touched probably the point where most people are so sensitive about, which is the classes, because they truly love Guild Wars 2 classes. They call professions in Guild Wars 2. I'm just a WoW player, so forgive me for that. But if you touch the classes, it's kind of like the Holy Grail. They don't really care about that. Like that, they're okay. They'll hear you out. It's fine. So you don't have to tiptoe around this community because they're actually incapable of rational thought.
Drop down.
Unlike WoW players, which, well, you know, I'm one of them.
And bars fall into place. The watercolor motif in cutscenes, the minimap, and even around the edges of your heads-up display still looks stylish and unique, and I'm glad that Guild Wars 2 hasn't abandoned its signature aesthetic. It's a solid package, made better by the fact that my journey into Guild Wars 2 has been entirely up to me. There hasn't been some arbitrary progression track that I've needed to sprint to catch up to, or a seasonal reward loop to entice further engagement. It's just a world with a laundry list of things to do in it. Now, I have some complaints that bear mentioning. Chief among them is the game's unwillingness to communicate its benefits to a new player. When I initially began my journey into Guild Wars 2, I played as a thief who is now a daredevil parked in the Heart of Thorns expansion. My initial leveling experience with her felt less engaging than my experience with subsequent characters, since I treated the game the way that I would have treated any other conventionally structured MMO. I wandered aimlessly between story missions because I was totally ignorant of things like the adventure guide and the achievements tab, which offers some structure to your journey between chapters in the main story quest. A lot of you might already know this, but the adventure guide is structured by chapter, with each one instructing the player to complete specific tasks in specific zones. Each individual task offers an experience reward, but completing a full chapter gives you an absurd amount. I'm talking 3 levels at once. In lieu of things like exclamation.
Yeah, Guild Wars 2 new player experience is not as worse as World of Warcraft, which is absolutely atrocious. But it's not that good. It's not that good. I think a lot of MMOs kind of fumbled the bag on this one. This is not unique to Guild Wars 2 by any means. It's a universal problem, but at the same time, I wish they would have made it better. 100%. Like, they can do that. Maybe slow it down a bit, because you constantly leveling up and just getting like more and more pop-ups that new players might not even pay attention to, because it's like, it's going to decide if you actually levels 2 levels at once. So it's kind of a shame. I really wish they would change that. I really wish they would do something about it, at least.
Points and quest markers. The adventure guide is more conducive to Guild Wars 2's lenient, explorative leveling design, but I just didn't know that it was there. Look, I'm more than happy to admit my own incompetence here, but I don't remember seeing any indication from the game to pursue these achievements. Now that I'm aware of the
that's not on you. That's completely on the game.
adventure guide, leveling has been a blast, and the prospect of playing more alts seems more feasible than it did before, but there's an opportunity here for the game to make new players aware of this system rather than hoping that they stumble upon it. Another issue is the game's insistence on interrupting its own flow. When left to its own devices, Guild Wars 2 is a highly enjoyable experience in which one gameplay opportunity leads to another, linked together by kinetic movement with points of interest along the way. Unfortunately, the game is made by developers who are beholden to a laundry list of arbitrary design conventions, such as shoving you into a series of instances with contrived gameplay scenarios that seem to exist for the express purpose of slowing you down. Guild Wars 2 is at its weakest when it tries to behave like a traditional single-player story-driven game. The moment that the player is no longer connected to the world at large and is instead sequestered into his or her own pocket dimension to trudge through a scripted encounter, the magic of the game is extinguished. This issue is exacerbated by the fact that the story is simply bland and the characters range from forgettable to altogether loathsome. I want to take a second here
you know he's talking about Bram. You know that based. Okay, it's so funny. He tried to tiptoe earlier and now he just slaying it raw. I love him. Oh man, I love him for that. Perfect. Yes. You see, Bram cannot be defended even by people who wants to love this game. He cannot be defended. This guy's garbage. I hate him. You hate him. We all know that. He's not a good character. I just cannot wait until he's gone. I'm doing Living World Season 1 right now. Brother, I'm cringing. Kabam! Or whatever the hell he says. Ooh, yikes. Bro, oh my god. True, so true. And also the constant interruption to the flow. He's right about that. Because the story missions do make the game feel like a solo game, which is kind of frustrating. I'm more of a quest out in the open guy. That's why I love Guild Wars 2 so much. The questing system, oh, it's... Mwah. The dynamic event system is sublime. It's truly the future of MMOs. I always said that. The era of people just going to an NPC, clicking on him, reading a goddamn scroll, and at the end of the day, just to give him 10 bear asses, like, it's over, okay? This era is done. The era of Guild Wars 2 dynamic quest system, that's how MMO are going to be like in the future. 100%. Unless, I don't know, some people would have anything better, which I highly doubt, because Guild Wars 2 dynamic event system is sublime. It's better than anything I've ever played in my entire life. I cannot wait to actually start Heart of Thorns so I can 100% the world again. 100% of Tyria was the best thing I've ever done in an MMORPG. One of the best. It's crazy.
a little bit of a hater because Braum sucks. I do not want to see him in any of the other expansions, but I understand that characters with millennial haircuts tend to outstay their welcome, so I'm bracing.
He knows.
The narrative also lacks a coherent structure, which can lead to total confusion, particularly in my case. You see, when I started playing Guild Wars 2 again recently, I had no idea what Living World was, so I altogether skipped it as I began in Heart of Thorns. You can imagine how lost I was in the narrative, having missed hours of crucial plot developments. I'm finally working through Living World Season 1, but it's like watching the prequel to the most forgettable season of television I have ever seen. I can't help but think of all the time and money spent on constructing Heart of Thorns' story-driven campaign. The animation, the voice acting, the programming. Why in the world would ArenaNet allow me to experience its story without insisting that I play through
Oh man, Bram is in Heart of Thorns? Oh god. That is the worst spoiler I could have gotten. Jesus, man, why you do it? Oh, no.
Season 1 and 2 first. Without
Why?
the proper context, Heart of Thorns was a mess, and I found myself dreading every story-driven scenario that I was forced to engage with. Honestly, I just wanted the game to leave me alone, but it insisted on telling me a story that the developers made painstaking efforts to build, but little effort to prepare me for. I also can't shake the feeling that Heart of Thorns' narrative experience was worse somehow. Listen, I fully accept that the base game is not groundbreaking and it all leads to the infamous confrontation with Zaitan, which definitely sucked. Yet I still think that I preferred it overall.
Man, he's spitting facts, fire, and brimstone. I love that. I love that. Yeah, the Zaitan fight is so ass. Dude, they need to rehaul the entire structure of Zaitan, okay? They just need to change everything. And the problem is, I think, no, not the problem really, it's just what is the most infuriating to me, is that Zaitan model is so good. Zaitan looks so terrifying and menacing in like the best way possible. Looks like a true undead dragon. It's fantastic design. phenomenal. Literally one of the best dragons I've ever seen. Okay, and it looks so good, and the fight is you like doing this, literally like that. Okay, that's it. One button, the entire fight. And I understand that it was 5-man dungeon. They changed it. I don't care. Okay, change it again. Changing it to something more fun. Or at the very least, use Zaitan in the lore to just give him a redemption arc. Okay, make him a raid. Make him like the sickest raid out there. Do something, okay? Just don't let him be abandoned in the abyss like that. Because it's disrespectful towards such a great design.
Heart of Thorns was more robust, it had better presentation, it had actual cutscenes, but I also felt that it was more in the way, and that I can't abide. From what I understand in terms of narrative content, I don't have much to look forward to. I've heard some freaking horror stories about the Icebeard saga, so I'll have to report back whenever I get around to that.
I heard it was good.
If there's a single blemish on the otherwise pristine face of Guild Wars 2, then it is smack dab in the middle of its face, and it is the insistence on interrupting its own flow to force you to hear from friggin' Braum again. I really hate that. Now let me pull you back for a second.
He's not a fan.
2 minutes ago I was gushing about how good this game is. Don't let my consternation with the story experience overshadow how happy I am to have rediscovered Guild Wars 2. As I mentioned in the title, it cured my MMO addiction. Over the years, I've heard a great deal about how Guild Wars 2 is strictly focused on horizontal progression, and that it allows you to do whatever you'd like. Whenever I heard that, in my mind, I always thought, well, you can do whatever you'd like in any game. You can roleplay in World of Warcraft or run a cafe in Final Fantasy XIV. What makes Guild Wars 2 different? The difference is that it's more than just doing whatever you'd like. It's that the game allows you to engage with its systems as you see fit, and the gameplay stewarding that experience is fun as hell. When people
No, you're not right about that. Some people do not like that. It's fun for you. It's not fun for other people. And that's why Guild Wars 2 isn't more popular. That and the fact that ArenaNet is probably doing the worst job at marketing the game, but most due to the fact that it's not for everyone. Like, that's just it. It's a fact. At the end of the day, it is what it is. Not everyone is a fan of that. And if you tell someone new that's in your game that asking you, oh, what do I really need to do here? And you tell them, you can do whatever you want. They just leave. Why? Because they feel too pressured to do anything because the game seems so vast to them. It's sensory overload, essentially. But because it's just too many things all at once. But they don't realize that they don't really need to do everything they want. There is a straight line that you can go to. And that's what I did back in the day, right? I tried to do everything all at once and I kind of got overwhelmed and quit. But nowadays it was completely different. I soullessly focused on the world of Tyria and I didn't jump to anything else. Okay? I didn't try to grab it all at once and it was fine. Like, it was great. So there is a line you can go through, and I think it's way more beneficial for people to, instead of just blindly walking through the story, to 100% Tyria and then do the story. But maybe that's just my way. That's how I felt like I was more comfortable without feeling overwhelmed. And maybe it's not for everyone, but yeah, people do get overwhelmed when you tell them, oh, you can just do whatever you want. It's not really that. Like, you should definitely try a different way to say it to new players, to not just make sure they escape.
Describe doing whatever you'd like in other MMORPGs, it often means enjoying the game without interacting with its foremost systems. For example, never raiding in WoW or never setting foot in Savage in 14, but still managing to enjoy those games. The difference is that in Guild Wars 2, I am interacting with its foremost systems by pursuing the completion of maps or elite specializations or masteries. I'm not enjoying the game in spite of its systems. I'm slowly integrating into them and finding a worthwhile experience along the way. One of my favorite things about Guild Wars 2 is that it doesn't look like a series of functions playing out on screen. When my character swings a greatsword, for example, it feels like I'm swinging a greatsword. The weight of the weapon is not only communicated in its animation, but in the impact of the object against my enemies. Running, strafing, and jumping don't feel like canned animations, but like real movement with weight and physics, creating the sensation of physical placement in the world. I don't know that I've ever played another MMORPG that has given me this much of a tactile connection to the moment-to-moment gameplay, and I think I'm gonna have a hard time going back. More than anything, I appreciate that I own my copy of Guild Wars 2. There's something so liberating about knowing that I'm not gonna be charged a subscription fee for reinstalling and playing the game. All I'm doing is revisiting a title that I purchased a long time ago and discovering things that I didn't appreciate about it before, or new features added in the years following its release that transform the experience. That psychological weight hanging over my head to be efficient, to engage with a limited seasonal reward loop, to get the most out of my subscription fee. There's none of that here. Guild Wars 2 is first and foremost a game, not a series of functions or a menu surfer or an engagement farmer. It's a video game-ass video game, and I am in love with it. Now,
and that's a really great point. I mean, I feel so bad whenever I pay a WoW subscription and I don't play for one day. It makes me feel so nervous because it's like I'm losing money, and I hate that. I hate that. And probably that's what makes me appreciate Guild Wars 2 the most. The fact that I can hop in, hop out, do whatever I want, and just come back and everything's the same. It's beautiful, man. I love it. It's one-time purchase. I don't have to worry about a damn thing. It's beautiful. But in World of Warcraft, it's completely different, man. I feel pressure to play, and I don't like it.
Some of you might be veterans who understand just how little I've seen in this game. Up until the publication of this video, I haven't done any strikes or made any meaningful progress into Path of Fire, so there's still years worth of content for me to discover. I'll be sure to make more videos about my journey through Guild Wars 2 as I reach notable milestones. But one of the bigger benefits of getting into a game like this is that I feel more available to experience single-player games on the side. Since Guild Wars 2 doesn't eat up all of my free time, I'm not agonizing over re-clears or weekly lockouts, so if I'd rather play a single-player game like Final Fantasy 13, which I've been doing on stream, then I can simply do that without that gnawing anxiety eating away at the back of my mind. It is unbelievable to me that Guild Wars 2 seems to occupy so little of the mindshare of the general MMO marketplace. It's easy to forget that, aside from World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy 14, this game stands tall as one of the most popular titles in the genre, and there are reports that suggest that the player base has grown dramatically in recent years. Perhaps the absence of FOMO in its systems is to blame for it being so often overlooked, but with combat...
No, it's just the fact that World of Warcraft and all the other MMOs are fumbling. Like, yeah, they're literally fumbling. Like, very hard. I think the moment WoW becomes good again, if it ever happens, which I think won't happen, like Guild Wars 2 is kind of cooked. I think most people will just jump back to WoW. And FF14 Dawntrail is doing really poorly as far as I'm aware. And again, I'm not trying to dunk on Guild Wars 2. It's such a fantastic game. It's just like reality. People are the most people that are coming into the game are kind of like refugees of other MMOs. And you know what? I accept that. Some of them are bound to stick in Guild Wars 2. 100%. But it's not all of them.
Movement and open world design like this, Guild Wars 2 deserves more than a passing glance. Gentlemen, I will leave you there mostly because I would like to get back to working my way towards that sky scale. If you're watching this video and you love MMOs but you haven't played Guild Wars 2,
I want that mount as well.
Yourself to give it a shot. More than any other game I've played in the MMO genre, this game truly embraces the foremost principle of fun, and it makes me wonder why I ever settled for less. A humongous thank you to JG Chowder for supporting the channel on Patreon. Remember,
interesting. Okay, so it seemed to be the end of the video. Great video. I'm gonna leave a link in the description. You guys obviously should watch it for yourself. Give him a like. It was an incredible video. I enjoyed that. And he's right. Yeah, like he had some really great points there. Some point that I didn't agree with, which I understand. You want to make this video like pretty appealing to the Guild Wars 2 fan base, but that's okay. You don't have to tiptoe around them. There are rational people after all. They're not WoW players, thank God. But yeah, I mean, oh man, what else can I say? It's so funny to see how so many people can appreciate Guild Wars 2 after this many years. And that's the beauty of Guild Wars 2. Like, all the content is still there. And it's still relevant, live and kicking. Like, people are still doing the world bosses like Shadow Behemoth, which you won't see anyone in WoW doing like an old world boss. There is no reason to. So it's so lovely to see that the community is still like live and well. And I love that. I love that, man. It's just fantastic.